Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson on I've Always Thought of You by Tommy Emmanuel. While the top tier patrons roll by, a quick reminder that only the first part of the tutorial will be released on YouTube. For full access, please head over to my Patreon page or to my brand new website. The difference between the two is made clear by means of a video on each starting page. All links are in the description alongside the link to music notes where you can get the tab and notation file. I've Always Thought of You is an early Tommy Emmanuel original, and if you scout around on YouTube, you can find versions dating all the way back to the late 90s. The tune has all the Tommy Emmanuel trademarks, a beautiful melody, tasteful chord voicings, combined with relentless picking across all strings with very few breaks to catch your breath. While older versions rely more on hybrid picking, Tommy's more recent take on the tune uses less hybrid picking and more standard picking. That is why I chose to split up the lesson and zoom in on each technique. Verse 1 will be explained using as little hybrid picking as possible, and the explanation on verse 2 focuses on adding it back in as much as you can. That's all you need to know. Grab your guitar, let's go to work. Okay, straight to playing, and the guitar is in drop D tuning, meaning you have to drop down the low E string a full step to a D. Now, just to be clear, throughout the tutorial I will keep referring to the low string as the E string, despite it sounding very much like a D note. It's just because we all know the string by that name. Then you need a flat pick. Tommy uses a plectrum for this song. I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I do know for a fact that it is perfectly possible to play this song without the plectrum as well. So you can just use plain fingers and play the whole thing. It sounds fine, but you will have to sift through quite a lot of material in this tutorial because we will be talking about pick strokes up and down quite a lot. That being said, let's dive straight into the intro. As always, a little bit below concert speed for that first take. Have a listen. And straight into the first verse. Now, doesn't seem too tricky, just one chord shape. You're going for a low open E string, sounding like a D, then an open D string, and then index finger, 2nd fret on the G string, middle finger, 3rd fret on the B string, and that is basically the chord you're going to play. And there's just one time where you're going to add the pinky on the 5th fret as well, but I already consider that a fill. On the very first beat, Tommy plays a reverse rake, so he basically puts the pick on the thinnest strings on the guitar and just drags the plectrum starting on the high E string all the way down to the low E string. And when you play that reverse rake, there are versions where Tommy just plays, let's say, the B string 3rd fret as the top note. Also a lot of versions where he adds the open E string in there as well, giving you a D sus2 sound. So see, I really like that D sus2 chord, so that is what I will probably always play. And you are aiming for that low E string to land on the first beat. So 3, 4, 1, and you end on the first beat on that low E string. Takes a little bit of timing to get that right, but before long you'll get the hang of it. Then on the next beat, Tommy plays with an upstroke, that 3rd fret on the B string, and from that point on we're going to roll through basically the same arpeggio again and again. So 1, 2 upstrokes, that reverse rake going up, an upstroke on the D string, on the B string, D note on the B string, and then downstroke on the open D string, downstroke on the G string, and an upstroke on the B string again. We're going to stick to this picking pattern, almost not exactly this picking pattern, sorry, but this philosophy behind the picking pattern for the rest of the song. Basically, you're always going to pick in the same direction, and you're always going to try and calculate the next string. As long as we keep heading in the same direction, you keep using the same pick strokes. So from the D string to the G string are both downstrokes. They are in line with each other. And then it might seem logical to play a downstroke on the B string as well. The problem with this is if you play a downstroke on the B string too, you're actually moving the plectrum, the pick, away from the next string you have to play, which is again the D string. So what you're going to do is you're going to play down, down, and then an upstroke on the B string, and this upstroke makes the pick jump in the direction of your next note, which is the open D string. This makes for a very efficient arpeggio pattern. And it is the same philosophy that we're going to stick to throughout the rest of the song. If you just play this, for instance, by using alternate picking, this song is going to be nearly impossible to get up to speed. So, reverse rake, 1, 2, upstroke, and then from that point on, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, 3 times in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. On the third beat, second bar, you land back on the open D string, and then you play down, down, up, up on the G string. So again, 2 upstroke, we're moving in the same direction, upstroke, upstroke, and then we're going to jump back to the low D string, basically start the arpeggio pattern over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, ending back up on the low D string. Maybe a bit slower. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And basically you can play this section, let's say 4 times in a row, and that can be the intro without any fills or any variations whatsoever. But of course that is where the fun lies. Tommy has 3 variations that he plays around with, and I'm just going to show them bar by bar now. In every 2 bars, sorry, I'm going to add 1 variation. So again, one more time. The first time, 3, 4, 1. Was the first fill. Now there is also 1 small variation in there, the first bar. Now Tommy just plays the open D string and continues straight into the arpeggio pattern. So instead of playing 1, 2, and now he will be adding the open, let's say D string, or even the 2nd fret G string in between there. 1, 2, just 1 arpeggiated note as you played before. Same picking pattern, down, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to this point. It is the exact same thing. And now instead of launching into that up and down arpeggio, it's open A string, hammering on with the index finger. So you're letting go of the G string, hammering on to the 2nd fret, open D string, and back to the low E string. So just that 1 fill starting on the 3rd beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And as you can see, that last bass note is landing in front of the 1st beat. Let me add that together. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. As soon as you go for that open E string down below, you lift up the index finger again and you drop it back down on the G string. And then the next, let's say the 1st beat of the next bar is open. It's just an open D string that rings out across the bar line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And you launch straight back into the same arpeggio. And we play those first 4 bars back to back. 3, 4, 1. And just to be clear, in that last fill, I'm sticking to the same method. Downstroke on the A string, hammering on to the 2nd fret, then an upstroke on the D string, so that I jump back down to the low E string for the next downstroke. So the picking motion is the exact same thing. Downstroke towards the D string, upstroke towards the low E string, and again downstroke towards, let's say, the G string to restart the arpeggio. So we're sticking to the same philosophy when it comes to the picking pattern. The next two bars, just two more or less similar fills. So bars, let's say 5. It's a bit easier. Here, same arpeggio again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Remove the index finger from the G string. Open string, hammering onto the 2nd fret, and again, just the 3rd fret on the B string. Back to back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And the bass note lands on the 1st beat. Then the last variation is that pinky that I talked about before. Again, we start with the same arpeggio. So all the way at the end, instead of playing that 3rd fret on the B string as we did 100 times by now, we just play the 5th fret on the high E string instead of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we end back with the same down, down, up, up, that up and down arpeggio that we played the very first time in the intro. So maybe one more time, those last 4 bars, a bit slower than that. That last bass note is the 1st bass note of the verse. So there you go, that was the full intro. Let me play through the whole thing just one more time and then we can dive straight into the 1st verse. 3, 4... 2 pointers, make sure that you pick this really lightly. So no volume yet. The only thing you're applying any volume at all is with those variations, sort of popping out that one hammer-on in there, or that, you know, getting some volume out of those parts. But everything else is really light and easy. That is going to make it a little bit easier to pop out the melody once we dive into the verse. And take good care that you don't lose track of the timing. It's not triplets, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 8th notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So you can feel the timing shifting as you play through that arpeggio part. Now, that was everything you need to know about the intro. Now let's dive straight into the verse. That is going to be part 2 of the lesson. See you there.